One day, about 20 years ago, the Black Tower suddenly appeared all over the world. It was super tall, way bigger than any building on Earth. Of course, the governments freaked out and sent all their top scientists and army squads to check it out. But nobody could even get close. It was like something invisible was blocking their way, just smacking people back. People kept asking, what the hell even is this tower? Well, that's when the players showed up. Yeah, just normal people, but they could actually go inside. Turns out, the whole tower worked like a game, with levels you had to beat one by one. Outside, the players were totally regular folks. But inside, they could pull off crazy powers and use monster skills like it was nothing. Every time they cleared a level, they got sweet loot to level up their gear. And even the real world started getting richer off the tower rewards. But here's the catch. If no one climbed higher for 6 months, the tower started a doomsday countdown. Once time ran out, the whole thing just collapsed and wiped out everything nearby. Like 3 years ago, that's exactly how Mumbai disappeared off the map. Every country has 1 to 3 towers, and Korea? Bro, just one. Sitting deep in the mountains out in Gangwon-do. They said there were maybe 5,000 to 10,000 players here, like barely 0.01% of everyone. Crazy, right? But Korea was doing alright. The squad had cleared up to floor 65, just behind the US at 66. But the story started somewhere away, in some dark alley, and this place was a kind of dirty, noisy spot in the neighborhood. 2 random dudes were chilling there, and one of them even spat on the ground like he owned the place. While all that was happening, a man walked right by, thinking about how his area was always loud and gross, and how his own home was just this tiny rooftop room, barely big enough for one person. Yeah, life wasn't exactly awesome for this dude. He was poor. Dinner? You already know it. Ramen again, because that's all he could afford since he had this giant debt to pay off. No wonder he never had any money saved up. And by the way, this man's name is Bong Joo-hyuk, with 3 part-time jobs. While he slurped his sad noodles, he started thinking about how he really wasn't special at all. He had no cool skills, and he definitely wasn't expecting some bright future. The guy had been living like this for years, just getting by. But then, out of nowhere, a blue screen just popped up right in front of his face. His eyes went all blue and glowy, and our hero just froze, noodles still dangling from his mouth. He was so shocked that he ended up spitting out all his food everywhere. Still super confused, our MC started wondering how the hell he could get the awakening. From what he knew, an awakening was like a miracle. If you played your cards right, your whole life could change. But of course, that only worked if you actually survived the tower, which was insanely dangerous. Inside, you could get torn apart by monsters, burned alive, frozen solid, poisoned, or even get smashed by traps. Pretty grim, right? Thing is, our boy was the type who avoided danger at all costs. He'd been playing it safe for 25 years, always dodging trouble. Like, he is not stupid enough to walk under some construction site or help some children when they almost got hit by truck-kun. Isekai cliché won't ever find him. So now he started asking himself if this was real, or if maybe he was just tired and dreaming with his eyes open. To test it, he decided to try calling for his status window out loud. And guess what? It worked. It said his affiliation was black and his trait was max level summoning. He got 3 basic trait skills, which are designated summon, random summon, and just summon. That's when our guy realized this was definitely not a dream. He started getting all curious about this new summoning ability. He remembered that everyone who awakened got a special skill, called a trait. Some people could swing swords, some could heal, others could grow huge or call on some crazy powers. His was summoning, which meant he could use creatures like spirits or magical beasts. Pretty wild. But our hero still didn't know what kind of summoner he was. He wanted to try out his new power, so he put out his hand and tried using his summoning skill. It felt super awkward, so he just went for the random summon since it sounded simple enough. Nothing happened. The poor dude just stood there, looking like a total clown. After that, he scratched his head and remembered, yeah, you can't use abilities outside the tower. Skills only worked inside except for the status window. Out here, he was just as basic as everyone else. At that point, he felt pretty dumb. Anybody who'd looked this up online would know that skills didn't work outside, so he just dropped the whole idea. But bro, right as he gave up, another blue screen flashed in front of his eyes and suddenly started the random summon. His eyes lit up blue again, and he was just standing there, totally lost, as this huge purple magic circle appeared near his door. That's when things got real insane. A mysterious guy with reddish hair floated right out of the portal. Our MC's jaw hit the floor. He couldn't believe his skill actually worked outside the tower. And, get this, it brought a human. This new guy greeted him with a big smile, acting like it was just a normal day. Bong Joo-hyuk could only stare as the guy started sniffing the air, looking super serious. But it was just the smell of ramen. Suddenly, the dude got all excited and begged for a bite. Our MC just watched, totally done with life, as this red-haired stranger dove right in and scarfed down the noodles like he hadn't eaten in years. The guy finished the whole bowl in one go and then started complaining that the ramen was spicy. Our hero found that pretty weird, since it was actually a mild flavor. Maybe this guy just couldn't handle heat. Putting the nonsense aside, our boy started wondering how on earth his skill had worked and why he'd summoned an actual person. So, he checked his status window again and saw that he could summon humans with different ranks, almost like pulling rare cards in a gacha game. From R to LSSR, luck seemed to play a big role. Right then, a new message popped up with the 3 principles of the summoned. First, they had to protect the summoner. Second, they had to obey any of the summoner's commands. Third, if principles 1 and 2 conflict, principle 1 always has the highest priority. Meanwhile, the summoned guy finished off all the broth without even asking. Our MC thought that having someone who had to obey him sounded pretty awesome. The catalog told him the summon's name was John Corsack, and he was an SR rank assassin with a 99% win rate. Suddenly, a tsunami of info about John just smashed into our hero's brain, giving him a splitting headache. His eyes glowed blue again, and he started getting this weird vision. In the vision, he somehow falls from way up high into a purple portal, dropping headfirst toward this weird place. There, he could see John Corsack dash in super fast, killing so many people in front of him with just one single blow. But after the fight, John picked up a red ribbon and got ready for something that seemed, well, a little creepy. He put together the weirdest present you've ever seen. He used ribbon on the dead person's head and pretended it was a gift. Fuck. That's why people called him a psycho. The guy looked super proud of his work, smiling in a way that would make anyone nervous. The vision switched again, showing a dark old mansion, the place where John had his only failure. Inside, the target was just lying in bed, looking peaceful. But when John attacked, the target defended with insane speed because that guy was actually the strongest swordmaster in the whole empire. John's final memory was getting wrecked in his last mission. Suddenly, John, the scary dude our hero just summoned, got all up in his face, asking what the hell he was thinking. The poor guy was so shocked that he lost his balance and wiped out on the floor. Still freaked out, our MC remembered something important. The summoned one was supposed to obey every order, no matter what. He tried to chill himself out, took a deep breath, and decided to see if this whole absolute obedience thing was legit. He told John to put away the ramen pot and clean up the table, thinking it was a good test. Bro, John moved so fast it was like watching a robot with a speed boost. No complaints, no attitude, just handled it like it was nothing. Our protagonist was honestly kind of impressed, and a little weirded out. To be sure, he threw out a totally ridiculous order. He told him, with the most serious face he could make, to act like a dog and make some barking noises. Yeah, our MC was definitely pushing it. He wondered if he'd gone too far and was about to feel bad. But John? This guy just started acting like a super happy puppy, wagging his tail and making dog sounds. Our boy honestly couldn't believe it, but now he was convinced absolute obedience was no joke. Suddenly, someone started banging on the door like they were about to break it down. Both of them freaked out. Then, a voice outside started yelling our hero's name, and that's when he remembered, oh crap, he forgot to pay interest on his debt. His mind started racing, and he told John to get up, because this was about to get ugly. So, here's the backstory. Our MC had borrowed 10 million won from some shady loan shark. The money went to cover his dad's surgery and his little brother's college. Even though he had already paid 5 million just in interest, the main debt never went down. Out in the hall, the loan shark kept yelling for him to open up, like he was actually worried or something. John saw how stressed his master was and offered to handle things his own way. Our dude freaked out even more, told him to hide in the bathroom, and, seriously, not to make a sound. The minute he opened the door, the loan shark grabbed him by the collar and pulled him in close. The guy asked if our boy was okay, acting all concerned about the late payment, but then dropped the real threat. He suggested that if money was tight, our MC could just sell one of his organs. His buddy even said the younger brother could fetch a good price too. That was it. All the anger hit Joo-hyuk at once, and his whole face changed. The loan shark noticed and asked if he was thinking about fighting back, but our hero forced a smile and said there was no way he'd do something like that. The loan guys left, but not before warning him, better not disappear. Or else. After that drama, John came out of the bathroom and our MC told him how quiet he was. Like, nice job hiding. After everything, our protagonist felt totally drained. He started wondering if he really had what it took to climb the tower. Yeah, the rewards were sick. But honestly, he was kind of a coward and didn't want to die. Not knowing what to do, he asked John what to do. The assassin said he could be dismissed if that's what our boy wanted. But then, like it was nothing, he raised his hand and asked with a big smile if he could watch some TV. Our MC thought that was pretty weird, but whatever, he said fine. John could only thank him and said he was going to watch a drama. That night, while our protagonist crashed hard, John stood guard and watched TV. Even though he was a summoned killer, it actually felt kind of nice to have someone around. Our MC thought maybe it wasn't so bad, and for once, he could actually relax. On the other side, John watched the TV light. But damn, looking at that ugly psycho face, something freaked me out for real. The next morning, the alarm went off at 8 a.m. Our boy hit the snooze button and woke up, but John was gone. He wondered if maybe that assassin got dismissed. Then, the system window popped up, confirming the 6-hour summon time was over. Ah yeah, he forgot that every summoning has its time limit before it gets dismissed automatically. With a big stretch, he got ready for work while the TV played the news. Suddenly, he froze. The news anchor started talking about some insane incident at the Smile Cash Loan Shark Agency. The second our boy heard the name, his heart dropped. The news said 3 people were found dead, and bro, their heads were gone. Even crazier, their heads had been decorated with red ribbons. At that moment, our hero remembered the vision from before and realized, holy crap, that was John's work. He remembered John's proud salute and psycho smile. Now, realizing what he'd summoned, our boy just started screaming. That warm, safe feeling from last night? Total joke. He'd called a psycho assassin into his life. The TV kept showing all the messed up details. There was even a shot of a hand on the floor, and those red ribbons around the heads? Seriously? Nightmare fuel. Our MC totally freaked out, knowing exactly who did it. Later, while he was working at the convenience store, someone called his name. He looked up and, bro, he saw a vision of the headless loan shark asking him to pay the bill. He was so scared his eyes went huge. The nightmare kept going. The other heads were lined up on the shelf, like they were on sale. He lost it, screamed and fell over, knocking stuff everywhere. The buyer asked if he was okay after all that noise. Our poor guy just apologized a million times and finished his job. This was insane. After the work done, he decided there was no way he could work on the second job today. He called it and took the day off. All the guilt hit him hard. He thought about the dead guys and wondered if it was all his fault. Walking home in a daze, he kept asking himself if he was to blame for this whole mess. Back in his tiny room, he tried to chill out. He opened the status screen and saw the hero catalog that John wouldn't hurt him. But honestly, he was still terrified. Wanting to try summoning again, he reached out his hand, but got interrupted by something weird. A system screen popped up, asking him to rate his satisfaction with the summoned being. Bro, what the hell was his life turning into? To be honest, our poor guy was pissed, because come on, John totally broke his first order to just chill and watch TV. At first, our boy wanted to give him the lowest score, just 1 star. But then he remembered his mom, and how sad she always got from bad ratings at work. Dude couldn't be that heartless, so he sighed and gave him 3 stars instead. The second he pressed submit, John popped out of nowhere, all smiles and shouting about loyalty, saying thanks for the 3 stars. Our MC stared at him, all suspicious, and wondered how a guy who looked so innocent could be, well, you know, a head-chopping psycho. He decided not to waste time and just asked straight up if he was behind what happened to the loan sharks. John kept on smiling and said he handled it before he got dismissed. That's when our boy's heart nearly exploded. He was standing face to face with a real assassin. He tried to calm down, reminding himself that bastard couldn't hurt him. So, he asked how John even found the loan shark's office. He just explained it was all because of a special tracking mark. Our MC had no clue what that meant, so he asked why John went and made such a huge mess. John said those guys were a threat and it was better to end the problem early. But the real reason? The third law of the summoned. Protecting the summoner is the #1 rule, above any other order. That meant, even if our boy asked to be killed, John wouldn't do it. Our protagonist said there was no real threat and that he made the call all on his own. But John just answered that it was a reasonable move. Our boy called him a psycho, but John just shrugged, saying he was used to being called that. Our MC knew the logic made sense, but, bro, that was way too dangerous. He started thinking what would happen if someone just bumped into him on the street and bitching around. In John's world, that would turn into a free head with a ribbon on it. The poor guy freaked out, so he made a new rule. John was forbidden from doing anything on his own unless there was a real direct threat. John dropped to his knees and apologized right there, loudly promising to judge each situation carefully from now on. That energy was intense, but our hero decided to send him back for now. But right before he left, he turned and dropped a big question. He asked why our hero hadn't gone to climb the tower yet. That one really hit our boy hard. He hadn't even considered it. He squeezed his fist, thinking climbing the tower was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. But honestly, he was straight up terrified of all the monsters and death inside. So, he asked if he had ever served another summoner before. John only gave a big smile and said yes. He definitely had. Hearing that, our boy just felt even more ashamed, thinking he was a total coward for not having the guts to risk his life. But John threw him a curveball. He said our MC was the best summoner ever. He explained that playing it safe was actually the smartest move, because brave summoners just get killed and then their summons are stuck in the system. He finished by promising to handle all the dirty work, telling our guy to just live his life. The next day, after barely sleeping, our hero woke up exhausted. He made up his mind to forget about the tower. His debt was gone, so he'd just find a normal job and live safe and boring. But life had other plans, bro. His phone buzzed and it was his dad, calling to check in and talk about rehab. Then he dropped the bomb. His mom just got laid off. Our boy was shocked and hung up, just standing there, not knowing what to do with himself. After thinking way too much, our protagonist finally decided to try the tower. He is now using a weird protective attire and got super nervous. But he was only going to take a quick look. If things got wild, he was out. He told himself he didn't need to summon that crazy assassin again. Instead, he tried the random summon, hoping for something legendary. But the system totally shut him down, saying random summon was on cooldown for a whole month. With no other choice, he summoned John again. This time, John showed up, super happy, saying thanks for the 5 stars. Our MC felt super awkward, wondering if that bastard knew he just tried to swap him out. Trying to act brave, our hero announced he was going into the tower. John instantly called him brave and, just like that, tossed away all our boy's work tools, promising to be his hunting dog inside. He said he'd take care of everything. Joo-hyuk shouldn't even bother lifting a finger. Suddenly, a blue system screen popped up, asking if they wanted to enter the Dark Tower of Korea. John instantly gave an OK sign, and Joo-hyuk pressed the yes button. The next thing he knew, they were sucked into a crazy high-speed digital tunnel. He got so dizzy he thought he was going to puke, and John held on tight while they dropped even further. When they finally landed, our protagonist realized he was really inside the tower, and the first floor was just an endless desert. He was so sick from the trip that he almost lost his breakfast. John helped him out with a pat on the back, then asked him to follow with a big smile. A new blue screen popped up, letting our MC know his physical and combat skills were activated. Even though he was still level 1, our boy could feel the power. Suddenly, a system message popped up with the mission. They had to defeat 5 tough-skinned larvae in just 2 hours. Joo-hyuk remembered what he read online. Everyone said these larvae were crazy hard. Most players needed 30 minutes just to take down one. But now, our MC was a player too, so he thought maybe he could handle it. He tried to hype himself up and decided to go after a larva all on his own. John, though, started looking real nervous, like he already knew this was a bad idea. Our hero snuck up on one of the bugs that was just chilling on the ground. Right when he thought about borrowing a weapon from John, the larva suddenly stood up and turned to stare at him. The thing was shaped all weird, with some green glow coming out of it. And dude, our protagonist was so freaked out he couldn't even speak. He gave up right away and told the psycho assassin to handle it. John looked like he just won the lottery, gave a huge thumbs up, and shot forward at full speed. In one hit, he blew the larva up and covered the whole place with nasty green goo. Then he told our hero to back up and didn't waste even a second before wiping out the rest of the bugs. He got a scary grin and summoned these wild energy claws, then fired off a storm of energy blades at the monsters. Bits of larva started raining down from the sky, and then he finished off the last ones with some kind of explosion attack. Our boy just stood there, totally stunned. He had never seen anyone that strong before, not even in his wildest dreams. The remains of the larvae turned to dust and disappeared, like they never existed. It was a total massacre, and because of that, our hero instantly leveled up and even got an S++ rank achievement mission. He also got a 100-gram magic stone and a platinum badge. Dude was pumped, thinking he just hit the jackpot from this easy mission. But what he didn't know was that this made him famous in like 2 seconds. All over South Korea, the notification is updated. Even some pretty lady at the gym got a message about his achievement, and so did some random guy at a nightclub. Actually, every player in the country got a notification about our MC. Anyway, Ju Hyuk got teleported right back to his tiny room. He checked his phone and almost dropped it. Everything had taken only 5 minutes. John was grinning and congratulated him for doing such a good job. The poor guy shook his head and said he didn't actually do anything, but the crazy assassin told him it was the right move. Our hero thought the whole thing was too easy and looked over at his rewards. He picked up a magic stone and just stared at it. He had never touched a real one before. Those things were worth 50,000 won, so now he was rich, at least for a day. Well, it had been 20 years since the towers showed up, so everybody pretty much knew the basics. But when he saw a platinum emblem in his rewards, he was totally confused, never heard about it. Yet he celebrated anyway because money is money, and John went off to watch TV. Feeling like a king, our MC ordered some fancy food to celebrate and even invited John to eat with him. The assassin got so excited from the smell that he almost started drooling. But as soon as he smelled chili peppers, he started sweating. Turns out, the guy couldn't handle spicy food at all. Still, he thanked Ju Hyuk and went straight to eating like he hadn't seen food in weeks. While they ate, our boy was curious and asked him why he talked the way he did, like in the middle of formal and non-formal. John explained that he picked it up from his old summoner. Our MC teased him about being influenced by an ex, and they both cracked up. After that, John just kept eating, and our protagonist finally started to think maybe the tower wasn't as scary as he thought. He felt like, with John around, maybe winning was actually possible. The next morning, Ju Hyuk woke up with a new look in his eyes, full of motivation. He created a real man's daily routine and decided he was only going to work for 2 part-time jobs and focus on the tower with John every night before sleep. Anyway, to test how obedient John was, Ju Hyuk asked him to dance, and John went all out, super happy to show off because of the 5-star rating he got. It made our MC wonder if that rating stuff was really important. So John explained that higher ratings gave big benefits, like longer summon times and even rank boosts. After all that, they jumped right into the 2nd floor of the tower. The next mission was to defeat 10 super-fast larvae in under 2 hours. Right away, our MC could tell this floor was going to be tougher, but John just waved it off and promised to finish everything in 3 minutes. He even told our Ju Hyuk they'd get to go home soon. With a crazy amount of power, he charged up to wipe out all the bugs at once. Our hero, trying to keep things fun, shouted that they'd eat chicken later, and that assassin yelled thanks like it was the best news ever. Then, just like that, he released all his power, and the larvae were obliterated in the blink of an eye. Our MC was totally shocked again and got another S++ rank. The whole thing felt way too easy, and he actually thought maybe he could make this his easy farming job. From then on, every day without wasting time, they entered floor after floor. On the 3rd floor, the new mission was to defeat 10 ice larvae. Floor 4 is about nature larvae. Bro, John just wrecked those monsters too, not even breaking a sweat. He looked super proud of himself, and the 2 of them celebrated with a high five. After that, Ju Hyuk's status screen showed that because he already collected 5 platinum badges from all the S++ ratings, a special privilege was activated and he got awakened trait enhancement. And now he could summon 2 creatures at once. That blew his mind. Imagine bringing someone else into the tower with them when John was already OP. Bro, the rewards for every S++ rank were so good. Now, with one more strong ally, our protagonist thought the tower might actually be a piece of cake. But the random summon feature was still on cooldown for over 20 days. So for now, it was just him and John. Well, he just needs to try his best to keep alive before summoning a new one. Meanwhile, things got real serious over at the Awakened administration. There was this tense meeting going on. One guy, Jung Gwang-il, was freaking out about the next tower announcement, and his co-worker, Lee Min-ah, totally noticed he was nervous, which just made him more annoyed. While they argued, Min-ah suddenly said there was another S-rank alert from the 6th floor. Their team leader, Gwang-il, almost lost it, because S-rank stuff was unheard of, bro. Korea's best record had only ever been rank A, and now this one guy was sweeping the tower floors like it was nothing. The director slammed the table and told them if someone cleared all the floors with S++ rank, it would flip everything upside down. He was worried that other countries might try to poach this mysterious player, so he ordered his team to track down the guy as soon as possible. Fast forward 2 days, and John was at home washing dishes, acting like some kind of super assassin housewife. He said it was time for the 8th floor, and our MC just watched, thinking life in the tower was chill up to the 10th floor. Because the first 10 floors are just a beginner place. Next thing you know, they were inside a foggy forest. Total horror movie vibes, where the new mission was to take down 10 warrior frogs. One of those frogs went wild, swinging its long purple tongue at them, but a huge blue energy blade cut it off. No problem. You already know who did it, John, of course. The assassin mopped up all the frogs in seconds, and they scored another S++ reward. The dude was like a walking bug zapper. The prize now is 5 healing potions and, of course, another platinum badge. Back at home, John congratulated Ju Hyuk on the win. As usual, our MC insisted he didn't do anything, but decided to thank John with a gift. He tried to give the assassin some money for a night out, but he refused, saying he'd rather stay home and watch TV so his master wouldn't be lonely. So instead, our boy suggested ordering fried chicken, and John got way too hyped. While ordering, that crazy assassin begged the restaurant to skip anything spicy. No chili for that guy. Then Ju Hyuk checked his prizes and saw he'd scored a healing potion and already saved up 1.8 million won in magic stones. Not gonna lie, he was thinking about selling those for some quick cash. On the 10th day of climbing, our MC was feeling totally wiped out and started thinking about quitting his part-time job for good. The 9th floor was a joke, and those S+ rewards just kept coming. He feels like toasting for John, actually forgetting for a second that he was a psycho killer summoned from another world. Anyway, thanks to his high ratings, John got upgraded and could now hang out for an extra hour, and the guy was so happy that he made this giant heart shape with his hands and promised to keep protecting his master no matter what. No matter how hard this guy tried, he kept creeping me out, lol. And then, it was time for the 10th floor. The second they stepped in, our hero felt his whole body get stronger, like power was exploding out of him. His mana was swirling, making him feel like some wild, untamed horse. He told John that from now on, he wanted to help in the battles. But that assassin wasn't having any of it. He said he couldn't let his master get hurt. Our MC pushed back, saying he needed to fight too. But before they could argue more, a giant, creepy eye stared at them from behind a tree. The monster on the 10th floor turned out to be a massive green praying mantis, and our boy freaked out, wondering how anyone could beat this thing. John, on the other hand, looked insulted, like fighting an insect was beneath him. So, our MC went into cheerleader mode and told him to handle it on his own. The praying mantis lunged, swinging its huge claws, but the goat John dodged like it was nothing. With a serious face, he powered up his blue energy blades and sliced the monster to pieces in the air. Just like that, mission cleared. Their reward? Another full kilo of magic stones, bringing his stash up to 5.5 kilograms. He also noticed he'd gotten bonuses for having 10 platinum emblems, and now, with 10, a new benefit dropped. The power to copy a skill from one of his summons. Ju Hyuk got pretty curious, but before he could pick, John told him to choose Shadow Step. Our boy asked why he needed an escaping skill, and John said it was the best move for running away. That kind of stung. Did he look like the type to ditch his teammates? Well, duh, of course he is. Like a true coward, Ju Hyuk is. He picked Shadow Step, and the system locked it into his stats. He tried to test the new skill right away, hoping it worked outside the tower, but nothing happened. Exhausted, he just flopped on the floor, moaning that it was useless, even though he'd summoned John perfectly outside the tower. The next day, on the 11th climb, our MC had something important to do. Super nervous, he called up the Awakened administration and told them he was a newly awakened player. The lady on the phone congratulated him and asked if she could send a support team over. He gave her his address and then just collapsed, worn out. Why the fuck is the operator too hype? To be honest, he only called because he wanted to sell his giant pile of magic stones. And by the way, this is the bravest decision of his 25-year life. He was a true introvert in all manhwa history. Meanwhile, the association worker, Mina, rolled up in a black car and met with the team leader. He asked if the new awakened guy was the S-rank player, but she said nope, not this one. Then she mentioned they just got another awakening call. so she told him to come with her. They needed to recruit whoever this S++ player for the elite squad, no matter what. Back at home, our boy was running around cleaning his tiny room like a maniac, super stressed about the visitors. Suddenly, someone knocked at the door, and he almost jumped out of his skin. When he let them in, he apologized for all the mess, still looking totally freaked out. The team leader introduced themselves, and Joo-hyuk got even more nervous, especially when a girl like Min-ah walked right up and got super close to his face, making him blush like crazy. She stared at him and told him straight up that he must be the S++ rank guy, leaving our MC totally stunned. She grabbed his arm and asked again if he was the top-ranked S guy. Our boy was so freaked out by how close she was that he had to push her away. Bro, this was not the normal way job interviews went. And man, our poor guy was totally lost. He kept wondering if there was some secret way these people could tell he was getting the S++ achievement. He decided the best move was to just deny everything like a robot, so he laughed awkwardly and insisted he wasn't that S-rank player. Bro, even a baby could tell he was lying. Of course, Minna saw right through him and called him out, but then the team leader scolded her for digging into people's business, so she apologized fast. The two of them apologized to our MC, and he finally realized it was all just some test. Next, the team leader wanted to ask a few questions to double-check things. First, he asked if he really awakened, and Joo-hyuk said yeah, then poured out all his loot as proof. When realizing he was now at 10-10, both Min-ah and the team leader got suspicious, so they asked if he was not the one they searched for. So, our boy got nervous again and acted like a robot again. The team leader let out a big sigh, then continued to explain how they divided the Awakened into two teams, the Elite Raid Team and the General Raid Team. The Elite Team must keep climbing the tower, as their nation's future was in their hands. Of course, they would get anything they need from the country, but they also get protection outside the tower because, well, they are just normal people here. Hearing that, Joo-hyuk got nervous again. As a pure introvert, he hates being recognized and getting all the attention. If he became this elite raid team, he was doomed for real. So, with a bit trembling hand and smile, he confidently said he won't ever be the elite raid team and decline any offer. Min-ah just sighed. This weak-ass boy won't ever be that guy they looked for. The requirement to be in an elite squad is determination, and this guy has none of it. The team leader seemed to respect our hero's choice, and our boy gave a weird little thank you. Then the guy explained he'd need Joo-hyuk to go into the tower and prove he actually awakened his powers. He suggested clearing a floor, hinting that maybe our hero should take it slow because each person could only go to the tower once a day. So, he better not waste the entry. Our boy got the message and said sure, but warned them it might take about 2 hours, thinking to himself so it wouldn't look suspicious. Hearing that, Min-ah just smiled and said she didn't mind waiting. So, Joo-hyuk stood up, offered them some drinks while they waited, and headed to the tower. And suddenly, he was teleported into the tower, leaving those two sitting alone in his messy place. The team leader confirmed that our MC had really awakened, and he asked Minna what she thought. She said he was definitely not talented and would quit on the 11th floor, because the challenge there was to fight the long-tailed tunnel centipede and kill 100 of them. With how scared he looked, she was certain he'd just run away. The team leader agreed with her and got ready to call his boss with the bad report. Meanwhile, inside the tower, our MC wasted no time. He summoned his right-hand psycho, John, who popped in with a flash of light. John gave a deep bow and thanked the master for summoning him. When our boy saw the mission was to kill 100 centipedes, he pretty much wanted to puke, but he told the assassin to hunt really slowly, for over an hour, just to make sure he didn't get S++ again. The assassin got it right away, gave a sneaky thumbs up. In his head, our hero was grinning like a little villain, thinking he'd finally fool everyone and get a nice, boring score. John then jumped into battle but paused to ask if he was still going too fast for the boss's plan. Our MC yelled back to slow it down, and he instantly chilled out. But hold up, things got messed up. All of a sudden, Joo-hyuk realized that one centipede had shown up below his feet and his body just froze in terror. He couldn't even move a finger. John noticed right away that his master was in trouble, so he jumped in and shouted that he'd handle everything. He charged up those blue energy blades and let loose, slicing every centipede that came even close to his master. Bro, he wiped out the monsters in a blink. Even though our hero was safe, he started yelling at John for finishing way too soon and ruining the plan. He complained that the killer was supposed to take his sweet time, but the assassin stood his ground, saying that his master's life always came first. Our MC was crushed. he knew his sneaky plan had totally failed. And of course, that annoying blue screen popped up to declare that he got S++ rank. Again. Damn! I don't know. He got lucky or unlucky. Looking super defeated, Joo-hyuk got kicked out of the tower, basically powerless to fix anything. Back in his apartment, the two agents sat waiting, and Manhwa mentioned that only 5 minutes had passed. Out of nowhere, a giant blue notification screen showed up right in front of them. Suddenly, our hero burst back into the room in a blue flash, leaving both agents staring at him like he was a ghost. They finally knew for sure he was the S-rank champ of the 11th floor. He gave a big sigh, feeling like this was the worst outcome ever. He said the two of them would have to be silenced now. And suddenly, John appeared behind him looking dead serious, promising to silence them both so no one would find out their secret. He started moving toward the agents, totally ready to do the job, but our MC panicked and yelled for him to just tie them up. But the assassin got it all wrong. Suddenly, our hero had this terrifying daydream where he saw what would happen if John actually silenced them. He screamed and started apologizing, thinking he'd just ruined everything. But thank God he snapped out of it. Huffed, that was just a hallucination. Meanwhile, the two agents asked what had happened to be this shocked. Trying to play it cool, Joo-hyuk said it was all just a coincidence and insisted again that he wasn't the S++ rank player. But the team leader insisted, because the timing was way too perfect. But our protagonist kept denying it. Finally, the team leader gave up and changed the subject by pulling out a contract for our MC to sign. But when our boy saw the contract, he totally freaked. It was an elite contract, not the regular one he wanted. The team leader explained that this was a special case, something no one else in the country had. It was actually an ultra-elite contract for super high-level players, with a salary of 12 billion won, a free place to live, top security, and even immunity from the law, which was basically a king's treatment. The agent said the country wanted to give him everything, but before he could finish, our MC shouted no and refused right away. Both agents looked shocked and asked why he was so against it. Our hero explained that he hated getting attention. Every time someone noticed him, he got super anxious, even when just shopping for clothes. He remembered this one restaurant he really liked, but after the owner recognized him, he could never go back. The agents realized he was the most extreme introvert ever, and our MC himself wasn't sure what to do next about this climbing tower journey. In the end, the team leader decided to back off for now and offered him a regular contract instead. As our MC shook his hand, he figured an elite contract was just too heavy. It would come with way too much responsibility, and he didn't want to risk his chance to keep going higher in the tower. All he wanted was a little better life. Meanwhile, back at the Awakened Administration HQ, things were not going great. The director was super annoyed because the report was nothing like he expected. He couldn't believe this random guy got S rank, but the agent explained that Joo-hyuk was the most shy person he'd ever met. The director wondered if there'd been a mistake, but Manhwa said it couldn't be. They had proof. The boss got mad and said only his talent mattered, ordering them to drag our MC into the elite squad if they had to. The team leader understood he'd have to make it happen, one way or another. But over at home, our hero was yelling that he definitely wasn't going to join the elite, looking super annoyed. But turns out, he was just arguing with John, who apologized for messing up the plan. Soon after, they stepped into the 12th floor, where the mission was to take out 20 ice weasels. Our boy told Corsac to go slow, and the assassin said he'd do his best. For a minute, our MC thought he could finally trust him, and maybe finish the floor slowly and hide from the association. But then, he started freezing his butt off because it was so cold. He tried to tough it out, but John noticed his face was turning blue, so he freaked out and promised to finish the mission right away. Our hero shouted at him to slow down. But that crazy one was already going full speed, destroying the monsters and saying that a cold was an incurable disease and that his master was in danger. Bro, with backup like this, our MC was never going to fly under the association radar. In the end, he got another S++ achievement and almost cried. The team leader instantly called him and asked if he had just cleared the 12th floor, and Joo-hyuk said yes, but the next floor might be hard. But of course, he was destined to be fucked up because of John. The 13th floor is full of traps, and that psycho said that because there were too many variables here, he would go as fast as he could. And our protagonist got another S++ because of it. The same thing happened on the 15th floor. In the end, Joo-hyuk just doesn't care anymore. Never mind hiding, the association is not dumb enough to deceive anyway. Next thing he knew, he already got almost 7 million won in just 14 days. He decided to keep climbing and quit all his fucking part-time jobs. The next day, he summoned John again, and dude instantly kneeled because he got another 5-star rating even after he messed up so badly. But our boy had had enough of the drama, so he just said, well, John can clear the next floor from now on comfortably. He said the association must be figured out by now. Anyway, the perks for getting platinum badges are too good to skip. Maybe he could gain another skill after this floor by getting 15 platinum badges. He then decided to go to the tower. Inside, the enemy was now a bunch of goblins. The system said the mission today is to defeat 20 of them. John just whispered that the goblin is too annoying because they could call their group, so he needs to make it quick. With a flash, he activated stealth and killed all the goblins in front of them in seconds. The system said Ju Hyuk got another S++ rank and another platinum badge. Back inside his home, our boy opened his inventory, and the system instantly declared that because he got 15 platinum badges, he would get another perk. Now, Ju Hyuk was all smiles. These next-level perks must be better than before. He was so desperate to know what would come out this time. Then boom, a shiny, glowing bracelet appeared out of nowhere, right in front of his face. He read the next system message. Perk received. An energy shield kit was now in his tower inventory. Our hero thought, energy shield? And just like that, he grabbed the bracelet and slapped it on his wrist. It made this satisfying click. And, bro, another window showed up explaining what the bracelet did. It was like a blue shield wrapping around his whole body. The system explained. This shield protected him from damage, but would break after a certain amount. It only worked every 5 hours, and the stronger he got, the stronger the shield would be. Our MC just stared, thinking this was basically a full suit of armor. Then it hit him. Wait, the bracelet didn't say it was tower only? So he could use it in the real world too? Now he was grinning like a psycho, laughing out loud while the blue shield glowed all around him. He raised his fist, feeling like a superhero. He started thinking, if he sold this thing, how much cash could he make? 2 billion won? 3 billion? Maybe he could just retire, quit climbing the tower, and live like a rich dude. But then, right when he was ready to cash out, our boy shook his head. Nah, if he climbed higher, the perks would get even crazier. Then, he looked at John, who was busy munching on chicken and ramen, as usual. Ju Hyuk, now super hyped, leaned in and asked if they could clear the 16th floor right away with another S++ rank. John, still chewing chicken, said clearing was possible, but they had to be careful. He couldn't guarantee another rank S++. That was a bit of a downer for our boy. He thought, what now? Should he just sell the bracelet and bail? Meanwhile, in some fancy government office, 2 suit-wearing agents were talking about how the global S++ announcements had suddenly stopped. Lee Min-ah pointed out that it had been 15 days and said Ju Hyuk was stuck on the 15th floor. Their boss, the director, just about lost it, banging his desk and yelling about how unfair it was that such a shy, wimpy guy had so much power. But the team leader, Jung Gwang-il, explained that floor 16 was just way harder than the earlier ones, but he didn't think our MC had given up yet. Suddenly, he checked his phone and got nervous. Ju Hyuk was coming to the administration because he wanted to use the player shop. The director's eyes nearly popped out. He realized maybe Ju Hyuk was just saving up cash to buy gear. The team leader agreed, remembering how broke our MC looked last time. The director got all dramatic, shouting that they should give Ju Hyuk whatever he wanted at almost no cost. They should have given him 90% discount. Bro, our motherfucker MC has too many perks now. Flashback to 15 days earlier. Inside the tower, John was basically having a meltdown because Ju Hyuk just asked him to stab him with a dagger. He was in total panic mode, begging for mercy and saying Ju Hyuk should just beat him up instead. Our boy, annoyed, just wanted to see if the energy shield worked. Not a big deal, right? But John covered his ears, refusing to listen, so Ju Hyuk grabbed John's hand, shoved the dagger into his own stomach, and then promptly freaked out because, oops, he forgot to actually turn the shield on. What a genius move, bro. John was about to chop off his own arm in guilt, but the system's healing perk fixed up Ju Hyuk's wound, and John just kept sobbing that his master should never risk himself like that. Our MC just wanted the psycho assassin to finish his hunt. John ran off. Dude could clear a floor in under 10 minutes. While waiting, Ju Hyuk thought he should practice his own skills, so he tried Shadow Step. Instantly, he zoomed forward, leaving glowing blue after images everywhere. Feeling super free and thinking this would be perfect for running away, which, let's be real, is totally his style. Suddenly, he ran into a goblin that must have been hiding from John. The little green freak jumped out at him, and our MC panicked, throwing up the energy shield just in time. The goblin bounced off, and Joo-hyuk was so creeped out he nearly puked. Right after, thank God, John noticed it and instantly killed that goblin. But even when he saw Joo-hyuk was fine, he started the usual lecture. Stop being so brave, Summoner Bong. Our poor dude just promised to be careful again, while thinking his ears might never recover from that yelling. After all that farming this floor for 15 days, Joo-hyuk had built up a fat stack of magic stones, over 22 kilos, worth more than 11 million won. So he called the player shop and tried to say he'd show up by himself, but the shop insisted on sending a VIP escort. When he showed up in the association, team leader Jung was there, waiting like Joo-hyuk was a superstar or something. Our boy felt super awkward, thinking this was way too fancy for a basic guy like him. Inside the building, they scanned his hand, registered his info, and told him he could come to the shop anytime. Walking into the player shop, our MC was blown away. Super clean, super high-tech, but not a single other customer around. He figured it must be because everything was crazy expensive. He went to the counter and dumped out all his magic stones. The attendant told him the exact amount and said he could use the money right now. Our MC thought shopping was exhausting, so he decided to just grab what he needed and leave fast. In the director's office, they made sure Joo-hyuk got a 90% discount because they knew giving him free stuff would actually make him so stressed he'd probably refuse. The director thought that was a smart move. Back home at Sunset, our boy looked super proud, holding his new mace and wearing glowing boots. He realized, wait, this stuff was crazy cheap, way cheaper than normal. He was a little embarrassed, thinking he definitely got special treatment, but hey, the boots were nice. A discount is something you won't ever refuse anyway. The best part, thanks to his energy shield, he didn't even need heavy armor at all. That one perk covered all his defense, so he could buy another useful thing. Now, for real, he started thinking maybe getting greedy wasn't so bad. These perks kept getting better, and he was hungry for more. The next day, he wanted to get started for real. The system then announced John was summoned. John popped in, kneeling and saluting like always, asking if they were going to farm the 15th floor again. Our MC said nope, it was time for the 16th floor. But here's where it got interesting. The cooldown on his summon was over, so our boy started praying to every god he could think of, hoping for a good pull. He started the random summon, and all these crazy magical symbols flashed everywhere. Then, the new summon started to appear, and bro, it was huge. Joo-hyuk almost had a heart attack. It just kept getting bigger and scarier, cracks and energy flying everywhere. Our MC started freaking out, realizing he might have just unleashed something totally insane in his little room. That summon literally broke his rooftop. When the smoke cleared, all he could do was stare at his ruined apartment and cry inside about his lost security deposit. Dude just wanted some perks, and now he might need a new place to live. Out of nowhere, a massive, ripped dude appeared. Seriously, this guy looked like a boss from some tribal fighting game. He had tattoos, a loincloth, glowing red eyes, and the kind of muscles that could bench press a car. Our MC was just staring, thinking, what the hell? Is this a human or is it a monster? Suddenly, John yelled at this big dude to sit down, calling him a dumbass. He then kicked him again and again, but the big guy just stood there, as if nothing had happened, saying it was just a tickle. John was not having it. He popped up with his 2 daggers looking dead serious, and told the big guy he was going to shut him up and decorate him with a ribbon after slitting his throat. Yeah, classic John. But before anything could get bloody, our boy Joo-hyuk dove right in between them, arms out, begging them to stop. He was thinking, dude, one broken ceiling was enough. He already lost his security deposit and couldn't afford more damage. John just stopped right away, a salute on full display, but our poor MC had to apologize to the big guy for all the drama. He even told John to step aside so he could talk to the new dude. But John was still trash-talking, telling Joo-hyuk that everyone knew who this guy was. He was famous for being an idiot back in their world, and probably didn't even know what the 3 laws were. The big guy tried to act smart, saying he memorized the 3 laws, but totally got them wrong. Dude, this guy is so funny. John roasted him for it, saying he was a dud and they should kill him right now so he couldn't be summoned again for 100 days. Our boy's eyes popped. He didn't even know there was a rule like that. Then boom, the system popped up with a blue window explaining this dude was the dim-witted savage meat shield of the Great Plains tribe, rank R, with a summon time limit and all that boring stuff. Ju-hyuk was super bummed. He thought, man, rank R? That's the lowest he can get? Maybe he should just wait another month and try for a better summon. But, bro, here comes the awkward interview section. Our MC put on this imaginary mustache and glasses like some cheap talk show host and started grilling the new guy. Name? Didn't know. Why was he here? No clue. Did he know about the tower? Nope. Our MC was getting frustrated, but then he decided to check the dude's stats. Suddenly, purple lightning and blue energy flared up, and Ju-hyuk got sucked straight into the guy's memories, just like when he met John before. Next thing he knew, he was falling through some crazy fantasy world full of floating islands and shiny butterflies. There, the big guy, let's call him the Savage Warrior, was just chilling in the grass, smiling at butterflies, happy with the simple things in life. Pure soul, bro. But then, out of nowhere, a giant wolf monster showed up. The Savage Warrior was actually having fun, wrestling the wolf like it was a puppy, totally unbothered. The dude was super strong, but, bro, he was also so dumb he couldn't even remember his own name. Next, this sketchy blonde dude named Arius showed up with some soldiers. He tricked the Savage Warrior into being their meat shield in a battle against a giant freaky Hydra monster. The Savage Warrior just dove into the fight, tanking acid breath and tearing off Hydra heads. Even though his own skin was melting away, he kept going, dead set on protecting his so-called comrades. But in the end, he died in acid. All while those guys he fought for laughed and called him an idiot behind his back. Brutal, man. Our MC snapped out of the memory, looking at this new summon and feeling all kinds of rage and sadness. He thought, damn, that was messed up. Who cares if the guy's a little stupid? He deserved better. So, Ju-hyuk stuck out his hand and told the big guy, who still didn't even remember his own name, that they'd climb the tower together. First, he tried to give him a name. Did he want to be stupid or Meatball? The big guy just shrugged. So our MC chose for him, Meatball it is. Yeah, this naming part is too funny. Anyway, Ju-hyuk promised to make Meatball happy and asked if he trusted him. Meatball gave the world's purest answer. He trusted his summoner and would do whatever he was told. John, on the other side of the room, looked like he was about to have a nervous breakdown, but after thinking it over, he decided Meatball could be a pretty good meat shield. John even said he'd train him up to be a proper fighter. Now, the squad was set. A shy introvert player, a psycho assassin, and a huge but simple meat shield. On paper, total disaster waiting to happen, but our MC was ready to make it work. They jumped right into the tower. 16th floor, baby. As soon as they spawned in, the system was like, new mission, kill 30 goblin scouts. 5 hours, don't die. John told Ju-hyuk to turn on his energy shield and be ready to shadow step away if things got crazy. He also warned them. These goblins shoot poison needles, so they had to watch for ambushes. Right on cue, a goblin in the shadows fired a poison needle at Ju-hyuk. But John, like the loyal bodyguard he was, jumped in and caught it with his hand. Suddenly, like 20 more needles came flying in from everywhere. Total ambush mode. John yelled it out, so now it was chaos in the forest. But John and Meatball started fighting off goblins left and right, while our MC just tried not to get killed. Our poor dude noticed there were way more goblins than the system said there would be. He called out for Meatball to get in front and block, and Meatball just went full beast mode. His eyes started glowing, golden energy shot out, and he leaped into the air, landing like a nuke in the middle of the goblins. Goblin scouts just went flying, disintegrating everywhere. Even John gets slammed away and swearing at this stupid summon. Meatball then made quick work of the rest, and Ju-hyuk was just standing there thinking, wait, this guy's only rank R? In pure combat, he looked like he should be SR, maybe even SSR. Maybe, Ju-hyuk realized, the system ranked him low because of his IQ, not his fighting power. Well, it makes sense. Later, back in the room, it was fried chicken party time. Meatball was sitting on the floor, stuffing his face, calling it kitchen instead of chicken, crumbs flying everywhere. Ju-hyuk told him to eat as much as he wanted, proud of his new teammate. John, of course, got all worked up, yelling at Meatball that it was chicken, not kitchen, and demanding he eat them one by one. He even got mad because one piece was spicy. Our MC just thought, man, is the get-along option missing from the menu or what? Then, out of nowhere, Meatball said Ju-hyuk was a good person, and that if his summoner fed him kitchen, he'd give his life in return. Bro, our MC almost cried. He told Meatball that compared to what these guys do for him, some chicken is nothing. John, still salty, yelled at Meatball again about the kitchen thing, and started kicking him again. He said this dude needed proper education, since he was basically inhaling all the food anytime nobody was watching. Next day, it was time for the 17th floor. They entered the tower again, and our MC suddenly felt his power surge. Like, he could barely control it. He started getting cocky, thinking the wild stallion inside him was finally waking up. Maybe, he thought, it was time for him to actually fight instead of hiding behind his summons. But John stepped in, totally serious, and told him that around level 20 was when people started acting stupid, so he'd take point. Meatball backed him up, saying he would keep the summoner safe and that Ju-hyuk should hang back if he wanted to stay alive. Our boy just nodded, not arguing with those two. Then the system said, "Mission: defeat 30 goblin warriors." When Ju-hyuk saw the goblin army, he nearly lost it. There were at least 70 of those guys, all armed and looking ready to wreck someone. He remembered the walkthrough videos. When the goblin unit appears, the smart move is to retreat to the safe zone, wait, and then ambush them later in small groups. But that takes forever. For our boy though, he had Meatball. No need to play it safe. So he called Meatball forward and told him to wipe them all out. Meatball powered up, glowing gold, and Ju-hyuk felt like, with a team like this, reaching floor 20, or even higher, would be a piece of cake. He just wondered what crazy perk he'd get next. As soon as Ju-hyuk finished giving orders, bro, Meatball went nuts. He started glowing like the sun, muscles bulging, and then he just shot forward like a golden missile. Goblins in front of him got launched into space. Seriously, they just flew through the air. One of the goblin warriors tried to yell something as Meatball charged, but that didn't save him either. Weapons broke, bodies hit the ground, it was a total mess. Our boy Ju-hyuk had to shield his own eyes from all the chaos. He couldn't help but smile, thinking that Meatball was doing an insane job. He even thought to himself that strategy only mattered if both sides were kind of equal, but in this case, it was more like 1,000 little rental bikes trying to fight a giant K2 tank. Yeah, no contest. Then the system popped up again and basically told our hero he got another S++ rank for the 17th floor, with a shiny platinum badge as a reward. Looking at how easy this was, Ju-hyuk had to admit Meatball was impressed, but sensing that happiness, John smelled the danger and was shocked to the core. He couldn't believe his master had changed like this. On the 18th floor, things got spicy. The mission was to take out 30 goblin assassins this time, and the place was a creepy, dark forest. Out there in the trees, red eyes blinked everywhere, goblins hiding in the shadows. Our hero reminded himself these were special monsters who could use stealth, so it wouldn't be easy. He gave Meatball the go-ahead, and the big guy dashed forward again, but the goblins started pulling stealth tricks, turning almost invisible. Meatball got hit by something he couldn't even see, looking totally confused. Our MC started to sweat a bit, realizing this round might not be so simple. Meatball keeps attacking the air, but not hitting anyone. Yeah, he was useless. That's when John decided to show off. He pretty much said he was tired of Meatball's dumb, brute force style, and announced he would show how it's done with some real class. Bro, the guy glowed blue and started using his own trick, Shadow Step, zipping around so fast you saw after images of him everywhere, slicing through goblins left and right. Even the system started counting how many goblin assassins were being wiped out. Ju-hyuk was shocked at how fast John was moving, but then got super cocky, laughing and saying that crazy assassin fell right into his trap. Turns out, John had been feeling jealous because Meatball was getting all the action lately, so now he was fired up and ready to compete. The two of them, John and Meatball, started yelling at each other, each wanting to help more and do better. Our MC just watched, thinking to himself that getting them to compete was a major win. He was pretty happy with all the badge rewards rolling in, but he knew he had to keep getting stronger too. So, our boy started powering up, his whole body glowing with energy, and decided it was time to show off his own secret move. He called it Wild Horse Release. Yeah, that name is a bit much, but let him have his moment. He'd studied every trick about the 18th floor before coming in, so he focused hard and realized he could spot the goblin's stealth if he really concentrated. With his eyes shining blue, he used Shadow Step himself, charging at a goblin. But bro, our hero almost wiped out. He lost his balance in the middle of his dash, screaming about his stupidity. Still, he landed the hit and killed the goblin. He tried to play it cool, insisting he caught the goblin just like he planned, but I don't think anyone believed him. A goblin tried to surprise attack him from above, but John Corsack came in swinging and saved the day, adding more points to the mission. The three of them kept battling, knocking out goblins left and right until only a few were left. But of course, chaos isn't over until it's really over. Our MC got a surprise attack by another goblin assassins. Bro, you should be a wimp. Why suddenly trying to be a hero? Look how bad this is. Anyway, John and Meatball were still doing their job, so nobody had time to check on their summoner. But thank God, Ju-hyuk's energy barrier was deflecting the attack, and he was saved. But another goblin was coming again, so 2 versus 1. Yet suddenly, our MC realized that everything felt like slow motion, probably from all the adrenaline. He got powered up and smashed the goblins with all he had, and the system popped up again, giving him another kill. In the end, our party got S++ rank and another platinum badge. That's right, our hero was basically on fire. But looking at that, John started having a meltdown. He couldn't believe his master ran toward the danger and exposed himself in the middle of the fight. Meanwhile, the folks at the Awakened Administration Office were freaking out. Lee Min-ah saw the global announcement about the S++ clear, and the director was super proud. He wanted to tell everyone that this was Korea's new record holder. But Lee Min-ah warned him not to, saying it would be dangerous if the guy's identity got out. Jung Gwang-il, the team leader, told everyone that our MC was now someone really special and that the whole team needed to take care of him. The news also hit the TV. News reports all over Korea were saying the mysterious player had cleared 18 floors in a row at S++, and everyone wanted to know who he was. Back at his apartment, our poor John just sat there, sighing his heart out. Ju-hyuk looked at him and asked what was wrong, and John finally said it. Our MC was getting way too good, way too fast. He was just too fast to realize he had a real talent for fighting. Hearing that, Ju-hyuk was totally confused. He couldn't believe anyone would call him talented. He laughed it off, but John wasn't joking. He remembered that the move Ju-hyuk pulled off at the end, Shadow Step, was something even he, the great assassin, would struggle to do perfectly. He got super serious and warned his boss. If Ju-hyuk started enjoying fighting and got too confident, he'd be in real danger. He reminded our boy that they'd promised to always put safety first. Ju-hyuk quickly agreed, saying he would never do anything dangerous and would always play it safe. Yeah, sure, like anyone believed that. When our wimp guy suddenly grew up and became this brave, in the end, John still looked super stressed, thinking to himself that our hero was totally going to cause an accident one day. And honestly, he's not wrong. Who knows what kind of insane stuff he'll get up to next? Meanwhile, Meatball, the big musclehead, was sitting there smirking, totally enjoying the show. He called John a moron for crying so much. That no-head guy has a knack for making our crazy assassin go mad. John just snapped and straight up kicked him in the face, sending him flying into the fridge. Ju-hyuk was just standing there in shock, watching his kitchen become a war zone. He looked at the mess and basically lost it. He yelled at both idiots to stop trashing his place and just get out, and unsummoned them. But the worst part? His precious kimchi was all over the floor like R.I.P. kimchi. Poor guy. That was a real tragedy. Later on, our boy sat alone in his messy apartment, looking totally done with life. He thought maybe he'd go visit his parents tomorrow to clear his head. The next morning, our MC was at his parents' apartment, bag on his shoulder, ready for some family time. His mom called out that her son was home, and told him to come inside. She was sitting next to his dad, who was lying in a hospital bed right there in the living room. Not great. Ju-hyuk got the classic mom guilt trip about not visiting enough, and his dad told her to stop nagging the busy kid. Our hero asked about his dad's hip, and got an earful about how bones don't heal easy, and he spent all day lying down. His mom just told him to stay put, and not do anything dumb. They all sat down for stew, except his brother Min-hyuk was out buying tofu. The old man sighed about how tough things were at home, but mom tried to keep it light, saying she'd find work soon. Dad told Ju-hyuk not to worry or send money, just live his own life and not stress out about the family. But our boy was clearly thinking about how rough things were, and even wondered if maybe he should say something about being awakened, like, let them know he had powers now. But he knew it'd just make things more crazy, so he needed to test the water first. So, he said it would be nice if he got awakened at a time like this. Hearing that, his dad and brother just started clowning on him, making jokes about Ju-hyuk ever trying the tower. Because apparently even their dad ran from cockroaches and was proud of it. His brother even said this was the funniest joke Ju-hyuk ever made. Yeah. So the wimp genes were coming from his dad. Even mom said wimp was not something this family should be proud of. But when mom asked about his job, our poor protagonist just sat there sweating. But well, mom said she trusted him, but then got dead serious and warned him never to use loan sharks. That hit hard. Joo-hyuk remembered some horror news about his debt collector, who got wrecked by John, and started freaking out. This brings back bad memories. To change the topic, Joo-hyuk asked why his mom lost her job. Mom just explained that a rude customer wanted her to do all their trash and recycling, so she snapped and told them fuck off and, yeah, she got fired. So, Mom was tough, all about justice, while Dad was more like a nice, harmless hamster in a suit. A real beta male marrying an alpha woman, but the wimp genes were so strong that all the kids became beta males too. After that, our MC handed his bro an envelope of cash for the parents. Manhwa at first tried to act all shy, but then pulled a sneaky move and demanded his own share too. Our hero just sighed as more money flew away. Brothers, man, always after your wallet. Later that evening, instead of going home, Joo-hyuk ended up at the Awakening Management Department building. He was feeling pretty motivated to do things right after seeing his family. He thought about getting better gear, especially a shield, since the monsters were only getting stronger. He wanted to call the team leader, but he didn't want the man being too much, so he decided to come alone without notice. Inside the player shop, he stared at this massive, fancy shield. But dude, it cost 100 million won. He almost fainted. Too heavy, too expensive, and why this place was way too crowded for his introvert soul. He remembered how last time there were no people beside him. Anyway, the lady working there, though, was super nice and suggested a smaller, lighter shield for 40 million. It had self-repair, and when Joo-hyuk tried it on, he was instantly in love. He bought it, even though his wallet was crying. But well, he secretly thought that talking to the employee was scarier than fighting goblins. Our boy was sweating like crazy. Yeah, as the same introvert, I could understand that feeling. Anyway, just as he was about to finally go home, this super friendly dude, Choi Ho-suk, rolled up and started chatting. Ho-suk said he was a player too, climbing the 30 seconds floors, and offered to help if Joo-hyuk needed anything. Looking at Ho-suk, this man was so easygoing and kind, and when Ho-suk walked away, the poor guy was just overwhelmed by all this social energy and thought to himself that this dude was probably famous and had a girlfriend too. Must be nice. Anyway, night falls, and we get a look at Joo-hyuk's status window. He was now level 19, summoning skills, shadow step, all that good stuff. He was hyped to challenge the 19th floor, but decided to call John first to talk things through. John showed up, but suddenly looking super miserable because our MC was excited to show off his brand new shield. He whined that Joo-hyuk was getting way too into this tower climbing stuff. Yet Joo-hyuk keeps promising to keep things safe. John got emotional and explained that was exactly what his former summoner said. But in the end, that guy died too. Our boy swore he'd never charge in recklessly. Yeah, right. And John even said it'd be better to sacrifice Meatball if things got bad. After the promise, John suddenly sniffed the air and realized something was up. Joo-hyuk then pulled out a plate of king dumplings, major loyalty points unlocked. They sat down to eat, but somehow the mood got tense, and John asked if his master had any grudges or enemies, which made our MC choke on his food. As a wimp, of course, he didn't have enemies, but John said someone outside the door had overflowing killing intent toward him. This made Joo-hyuk tense up. Someone aimed to kill him? Suddenly, someone knocked on the door and said hello, and John instantly told our MC to hide and activate the energy barrier. Joo-hyuk just nodded and did what John said. Suddenly, the door is forced open, and through the open door stepped Choi Ho-suk from the player shop. But now he had a gun and a straight-up psycho grin. He said surprise, and confessed it was hard to follow Joo-hyuk before. Looking at that, our MC was scared out of his mind. Dude just wanted to buy a shield, not get murdered. He begged the man to talk things out, but Ho-suk called him a loser and told him to take off his bracelet and open his inventory, or he'd blow his head off. Joo-hyuk tried to protest, but Ho-suk just screamed at him, totally losing it. That stupid man even pointed the gun in front of Joo-hyuk's head. But then, bro, it was John Corsak's time to shine. A dark, evil-looking aura started pouring out from John, his eyes glowing red. Joo-hyuk just sighed and thought it was basically suicide for anyone who tried to harm him. That crazy assassin wasn't going to let that happen. Honestly, our protagonist cannot catch a break. This guy's life is insane. Anyway, before Ho-suk could do anything funny, John knocked him out using the back of his dagger. And bro went crumpled like a sack of potatoes. The man never expected there was another person in the room. Joo-hyuk, meanwhile, was just shocked that the crazy assassin didn't kill Ho-suk. Our boy got so hyped. He told John he did awesome. He was super impressed that John only knocked the guy out instead of killing him, since, let's be real, John has a habit of solving problems. Permanently. Yeah, our assassin has grown up somehow. Anyway, Ju Hyuk figured Hosok must be what's called an item broker. A player who hunts other players outside the tower, kills them, and steals their loot. That's some dark stuff. He remembered hearing about these creeps before from the team leader and realized that if he couldn't summon from outside the tower, he'd probably be dead right now. Dude started thinking his summoning skill was straight up cheat code level. Suddenly, John offered to drag Hosok outside and deal with the body, but Ju Hyuk quickly said to leave him for the police instead. He tried to act tough, but you could tell he just really didn't want to deal with any more dead bodies on his floor. Meanwhile, the team leader was giving a report that Ju Hyuk came to the play shop without announcing and sadly bought the item there without a discount. When the director asked if the team leader had any idea about our protagonist's class or skill, the team leader only said it was probably a melee type, because of a mace and a shield that Ju Hyuk bought earlier. Yeah, both of them agree they should give a lot of gear for Ju Hyuk because melee-type classes need good gear to hunt properly. But suddenly, he got a call, and got super shocked to hear the news that someone had almost killed player Bong Ju Hyuk. So, he ran away, and decided to come see Ju Hyuk. With this, he was 100% sure he needed to do everything to make our hero sign the elite contract. The risk of losing a super big player like him is too big. In Ju Hyuk's apartment, the cops showed up. They handcuffed Hosok, reading him his rights for home invasion and robbery. Hearing that, Hosok freaked out, shouting that he was innocent and actually the victim. But Ju Hyuk was like, "Bro, I live here." But the cops said Ju Hyuk had to come with them too, just for statements. Right then, Jung Gwang-il, the team leader, busted into the apartment, looking ready to fight God. Looking at the man, Hosok tried to suck up to him like they were old friends, maybe hoping he'd get saved. Yeah, of course it didn't work. The team leader just walked up and slapped the man so hard he probably saw tomorrow. Blood everywhere. He called Hosok out, saying he knew exactly who the real criminal was, and told the cops to take him away for good. The team leader knew so many people like him who dared to harm and kill another player, just for profit, and he's getting sick of it. Hosok's hunter registration would be cancelled, and NIS would also come, so the cops should hand this brat away to them. Hosok started sweating like crazy. He couldn't believe why a level 34 like him was getting pushed just because of some weak newbie like Ju Hyuk. Also, when he heard the NIS was coming, he got mega afraid. Those guys do not play around. He could die for real. So he decided to drop the act and beg for mercy. But the team leader was still furious, telling the police not to fall for Hosok's whining and making it super clear that Hosok wouldn't get away this time. Not with all his repeat offenses. Then he made sure the cops knew how to handle a player, so Hosok couldn't just disappear into the tower and escape. After all that, he turned to Ju Hyuk and asked if he was hurt. But our MC was so freaked out by his serious face that he could barely speak. Suddenly, the team leader bowed down, apologized a bunch, and swore to protect him better from now on. Inside his mind, he said he was done waiting. He needed to get Ju Hyuk on the elite team and set him up with real protection as soon as possible. The boy was a national asset after all. After all the drama, things were finally chill. Ju Hyuk then summoned his team. John, Meatball, let's go. Next thing you know, they're back in the Black Tower on floor 19, facing a bunch of goblin shamans. Well, they're not that scary, just attacking with some weak curses and baby fire arrows. Although it should be dangerous for another person, that doesn't count with this team. Meatball rushed in first, took a deep breath, and straight up roared so loud he blew away all the goblin magic. No kidding, he just solved curses by yelling. What a Hulk! John told Meatball to hurry up and clear the floor fast, and both of them were all business. They wiped out the shamans like it was nothing. Ju Hyuk tried to jump in with his new shield and mace, but before he could even swing, boom, mission complete. S++ clear, platinum badge, all that good stuff. Looking at John's smug face, our boy realized his summons finished too fast on purpose so he wouldn't get a chance to fight. He was a little salty about it, but hey, an S++ is still an S++. Fast forward to the next day. Now the team entered the 20th floor, the so-called talent evaluator. This floor was super tough, with all kinds of goblins, scouts with poison, sneaky assassins, shamans, big hobgoblins, the works. Ju Hyuk looked pretty scared, not gonna lie. John also gave him a warning. This stage is not as easy as before. Too many variables could happen here, so Ju Hyuk needs to hide in the back. Meatball also agreed. He immediately told him to stay out of it. and let them handle everything. Then, the system announced the mission: defeat 100 goblins of any type and 1 hobgoblin, all within 10 hours. In the back, Ju-hyuk was ready to fight, but his summons literally blocked his way. Classic. Well, he was a wimp, so he should stay here, right? John then gave orders like the bossy assassin he is, telling Meatball to draw aggro while he slipped in for the kills. Meatball jumped right in, decided to end this fast. In an instant, all the goblins started to attack, but our MC had had enough of being the background character. He charged past Meatball, activating his shadow step, yelling that he was going on ahead. He literally stepped on Meatball's back and charged straight to the attack. Both John and Meatball just stared, totally stunned. Of course, John was freaking out, screaming in his head that Ju-hyuk actually did it. He ran right into the danger zone, ignoring everyone's advice. Our boy was about to show the world if he was a hero, or just very, very dead. Man, this guy never learns. Fuck. I started to hate Ju-hyuk. He was basically a wimp, but suddenly decided to be a real hero and even ran toward the attack even before the tank blocked it. Yeah, he was super stupid.